In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Ree-Yees for the Black Series 3 and 3/4 inch line. So I've had this action figure ever since 2014, I think is when he was released. If you saw my Revenge of Sith Darth Vader review from the Black Series 3 and 3/4 inch collection, this one right here, I actually found them both at Walmart together, and I only got them both for about $5.99 each. I think there was a glitch in the system or something wasn't adding up right on Walmart's end. So I went ahead and got both these action figures. I think the entire wave was there, but these were the two that I wanted most. As far as Jabba's aliens are concerned, Ree-Yees is probably one of my favorite personally. So even though he's probably most famous for being in Return of the Jedi, Jabba's sail barge, and I think he showed up in Jabba's palace as well. When I look at the Gran here, which is what his species is, I think of Dark Forces 2. If you recall on I think it was on Nar Shaddaa is where the first mission was, if I recall correctly. You end up fighting a lot of Gran there on that planet, and they look very similar to this. So at the time I got them, I thought, well, eventually I'll get a Kyle Katarn, and then I can use Ree-Yees there as like I can reenact a scene from that particular level in the game. So that's something that I hope to do at some point, maybe make a diorama or something like that. But he's a great action figure overall. There's not a whole lot I can really say about it. What you see is pretty much all there is. And at this point, at least at the time he was initially released, he was definitely a highly sought after action figure, and I think he ended up getting a little bit expensive on the aftermarket. But since the relaunch of the TVC line, he's been re-released twice, I think, up to this point. It was in the Jabba's Palace playset diorama that came with the Han and Carbonite, and then he was also re-released yet again in a 4-pack with Squidhead and a few other guys. So now he's kind of diluted in the market. There are some differences between the three versions. The only differences are in the paint, though. I have seen some other reviews of this action figure out there, and some people claim that the eyes in particular are kind of sloppy on the Black Series sample. I think the one on mine turned out alright though, so it looks pretty good as is. I don't have any of the TVC figures. I don't really see a need to own them. In fact, that's part of the reason why I haven't really got that 4-pack with Tessic up to this point, because it's like, I really don't want to get another Ree-Yees in the collection. And the Tessic that's in the TVC line is, I wouldn't say it's a huge upgrade from the Power of the Jedi one, and I think that's the one I'm leaning more towards if I get him at some point, which I probably will. So I might end up just getting the Power of the Jedi Squidhead instead. And then the Jabba's Palace playset, I've seen that so many times before in retail, and it just never really caught my eye to get it. Maybe someday I'll get it, but for the time being, it's not really a priority. So let's just take a closer look at this guy. So being a Gran, that means they have 3 eyes here, and they have these, they definitely look like a alien that you would see in like a 1950s horror movie or something like that. There's the ears here, and then like the antennas. Really big hands too. Overall, the sculpt is really good. I think it's pretty much 100% faithful to the character we see on film. And he kind of has a nasty expression there. His teeth showing, giving that look like eyes are painted just in solid black. It has a little bit of a glossiness to it. See his nostrils there, and his neck, wrinkles in it. And for his outfit, pretty basic. It's all brown with tan color boots. Something about his feet I'll mention a little bit later. He does have these pouches here, just on that one side. An interesting thing about the waist there is that it looks like it kind of overlaps over the belt there. wonder if Hasbro did that on purpose to kind of give the impression that his shirt is overlapping the belt. Yeah, the hands look like they'd be boxing gloves. I wonder if that's what was used as part of the costume in the filming. Still, if you factor this into the lore of Star Wars, if Grand actually have hands like that, you would think they'd be champion boxers, if that's a thing in Star Wars. Imagine they can knock a few aliens out of the arena. In terms of his articulation, he does have a ball joint in the head there. It's kind of restricted though, and I think it's just because of the cut of the neck. But you can get him in most poses that you want. You can look up just a little bit, you can look down just a little bit, and you can look side to side. So you can pretty much get him in most of the main poses. You can do a little bit side to side. He does have hinge at the shoulders, which, again, I think they're a little bit restricted. It's because of the cut of his shirt there. Mind the joint feels a little tight. Does have hinged elbows. I don't think go quite to 90 degrees. That's pretty close. And swivel wrists. Swivel waist. And then swivel hips. And hinge knees and no articulation ankles. Which is perfectly fine. I think he stands alright on his own anyway. Yeah. So it's not really a big deal. In terms of his weapons and accessories, he actually comes with 2. So he basically just has a blaster pistol and a blaster rifle. They're all cast in black. And these are unique to Ree-Yees, I think. I've never seen these on any other figure. And he does hold them pretty well in both hands. I don't think it really matters which one's in which hand. But he does have a trigger finger there. Looks like the ends of his fingers are totally flat there. So you could have him walking into the cantina or something, blowing up the place. So I was going to mention something about the feet that I previously mentioned in the video. So Gran here, you can see by his boots, looks like he's got normal feet. But then you bring out another Gran here, Askak, senator featured in the prequels. See, his feet are much different. So it makes me wonder which version is accurate. Perhaps there's different type of Gran. As you can see, they are a little bit different. He's got these ears that are more prevalent on Askak there than Ree-Yees. He does have a little bit of stuff there, not much. And they do have a little bit different shade about them. Of course, Askak has much smaller hands compared to Ree-Yees, and he has all these dots about him. Ree-Yees does not. I'm sure the real answer is this was just how they did the costume back in 1983, and of course the feet don't really matter because we're not really going to see it on film anyway, and even if we did, so what? But then as Star Wars became more of a world-building experience and became more developed, perhaps the grand changed over time, but I would have to go back and check in the actual Star Wars lore if there's an explanation for this. That's pretty interesting to know. And I think these are pretty much the only two grand Hasbro Star Wars action figures that have ever been made. Anyways, that's pretty much all I can tell you about Ree-Yees here. So would I recommend him for your collection? Chances are if you've wanted him, you probably have him in your collection up until this point. Because of all the TVC releases we've gotten. It seems like they stay around for a while. But still, I would highly recommend him. I think he's a great character. He's great for backgrounds. I'm personally a big fan of the Gran and Ree-Yees. I think they're good. You can get multiples of Ree-Yees even, and like I said, use it as like the enemies you fight in Dark Forces 2. So you could get an army of him and then have Kyle Katarn battle them out. So he's great for that, but of course if you have Jabba's Palace displays or you're interested in Return of the Jedi, he's probably an essential character. Between the Black Series figure here and the TVC versions, like I said, the only difference is in the paint. So you just gotta look at various samples and determine which one you think is better. I think this Black Series one is perfectly fine. I can't say it's better or worse than the TVC figure, and I can't say the paint is better on one than the other, so it just comes down to whichever one you prefer. I think on the TVC figures he's a little bit more orange, probably a little bit more similar to Askak in the face here, while this one seems to be a little bit more on the paler side, and I think it's fine for what it is. And I'm very happy to have this action figure, and I don't really see a need to get another. Like I said, I got him with the Revenge of the Sith Darth Vader. Now we spent about $5.99 for him at the time, even in 2014, so I got a pretty good deal. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. Always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support. And check out the links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.